What happens when the man who destroyed your life, shattered your trust, and left you broken in the middle of the ring suddenly shows up at your hospital bedside? Roman Reigns just walked through those cold hospital doors to visit Seth Rollins, and nobody, absolutely nobody saw this coming. The same Roman Reigns who turned his back on the Shield. The same Roman Reigns who built an empire on betrayal. And now, as Seth lies there fighting for his career after a devastating injury, Roman appears like nothing ever happened. Are we supposed to forget everything? Are we supposed to believe this is genuine? Or is this just another calculated move from the tribal chief to manipulate everyone watching? The internet is exploding right now, and what I'm about to reveal will change everything you think you know about this visit. Main content. Let me take you back, because this story runs deeper than anyone realizes. The Shield was brotherhood. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose were unstoppable. They dominated WWE like a force of nature, and fans believed in that bond. But then Seth did the unthinkable in 2014. He took a steel chair and drove it into Roman's back. He shattered the Shield for his own ambition, for a chance at singles glory, and Roman was left picking up the pieces. That betrayal defined both of their careers. It created a rivalry that would span years, filled with brutal matches, broken bones, and shattered pride. They'd beaten each other senseless in every match type imaginable. Steel cages. Hell in a Cell. WrestleMania main events. Each encounter more vicious than the last. Fast forward to today, and Seth Rollins just suffered what doctors are calling a potentially career-ending injury. During a match that was already controversial, Seth's opponent delivered a move that went horribly wrong. The sound of his body hitting the mat echoed through the arena in a way that made everyone's stomach turn. Medical staff rushed to the ring immediately. The match was stopped. Fans were crying in the audience. Seth was stretchered out, and social media went into meltdown mode. For 3 days, there was nothing but silence and speculation. Would Seth ever wrestle again? Is his career over? WWE released minimal information, which only made the anxiety worse. Then came the bombshell that nobody expected. Roman Reigns was spotted entering the hospital. Not for a publicity stunt. Not for cameras. Security footage leaked showing Roman in a baseball cap and sunglasses, clearly trying to stay under the radar, making his way to Seth's private room. Within hours, wrestling news outlets were reporting it everywhere. The tribal chief visiting his former Shield brother in secret. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. According to sources inside the hospital, Roman spent over 2 hours in that room. 2 hours. What could they possibly have talked about for that long? Were they reliving old Shield memories? Was Roman apologizing for years of conflict? Or was something else entirely going on behind those closed doors? Let's break down what makes this situation so controversial and why fans are divided like never before. On one side, you have people saying this is beautiful, that this proves brotherhood transcends all the betrayal and competition. They're posting old Shield photos with captions about forgiveness and growth. They want to believe that Roman showed up because, despite everything, he still cares about Seth as a person, not just as a competitor. These fans are emotional, creating tribute videos and writing paragraphs about how wrestling is real when it comes to these relationships. They see Roman's visit as the ultimate redemption arc, proof that even the most bitter rivals can put aside their differences when things get serious. But then there's the other side, and they're absolutely furious. These fans are calling Roman a hypocrite. They're bringing up every single time Roman has shown ruthlessness, every moment he's put his title and his legacy above everything else. They're asking the hard questions. Why now? Why show up when Seth is vulnerable and unable to defend himself or question Roman's motives? Is this genuine concern, or is Roman Reigns playing the long game, setting up a storyline for when Seth returns? Some are even suggesting this is Roman's way of controlling the narrative, making himself look like the bigger man while Seth can't even respond publicly. The comment sections are war zones right now. People are genuinely angry, accusing others of being naive, while others are defending Roman's character with everything they've got. Here's what makes this even more complicated. Just 3 weeks before this injury, Roman and Seth had a confrontation on SmackDown that was absolutely explosive. They were face to face, tensions at an all-time high, and Roman said something that cut deep. He looked Seth dead in the eyes and told him that the Shield was the best thing that ever happened to him, and that Seth has spent his entire career trying to escape Roman's shadows but never could. Seth fired back, reminding everyone that he was the one who broke up the Shield, that he was the architect of his own destiny, and that Roman was just mad because Seth proved he could thrive without his brothers. The promo ended with both men having to be separated by security. That was 3 weeks ago. And now Roman is at Seth's hospital bedside. The timing is either incredibly sincere or incredibly suspicious, depending on who you ask. Let's talk about what WWE might be planning here, because nothing happens in this business without layers. If Seth's injury is as serious as reports suggest, he could be out for 6 months to a year. That's a massive absence, and WWE needs to keep his name relevant. Roman visiting the hospital creates immediate buzz. It generates speculation. It keeps both names in conversation even while Seth recovers. When Seth eventually returns, whether this was a genuine moment of brotherhood or a setup for betrayal, either direction creates compelling television. If it was real, imagine Seth returning and having to decide whether to trust Roman. If it wasn't real, imagine the heat Roman would get for exploiting Seth's injury for mind games. Either way, WWE wins, and fans are invested. But there's something else nobody's talking about. Multiple sources are reporting that other WWE superstars have tried to visit Seth, and most were turned away. His wife Becky Lynch is obviously there. Close friends from the locker room have been able to see him briefly. But Roman apparently walked right in without any issues. How did that happen? Does Roman have that much pull that hospital staff and Seth's inner circle just let him through? Or did Seth specifically request to see Roman? That detail changes everything. If Seth wanted Roman there, it suggests their relationship has evolved privately in ways the public doesn't understand. If Roman just showed up uninvited and was granted access anyway, it raises questions about power dynamics and respect for Seth's space during a vulnerable time. The wrestling community is dissecting every possible angle. Some are convinced this is the beginning of a Shield reunion. They're pointing to subtle hints on social media, cryptic posts from all three former Shield members that could be interpreted as foreshadowing. Others think this is Roman setting up the ultimate betrayal, that once Seth returns, Roman will use this hospital visit as ammunition to psychologically destroy him. There's even a theory floating around that Seth's injury isn't as bad as reported, and this entire hospital visit is a planned storyline beat that will pay off in a shocking way months from now. In wrestling, you can never be completely sure what's real and what's scripted, especially when it involves performers as intelligent as Roman and Seth. What we do know for certain is that this visit has created more conversation than any match or promo in recent months. It's trending across all social media platforms. Wrestling podcasts are dedicating entire episodes to analyzing it. Mainstream sports outlets are even picking up the story. Whether you love Roman Reigns or hate him, whether you believe this was genuine or calculated, you cannot stop talking about it. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle, that Roman does care about Seth on some level, but he's also aware of how this looks, how it plays into narratives and future storylines. These are professional storytellers, after all, and their lives are performances, whether cameras are rolling or not. The real question now is what happens next. When Seth Rollins is cleared to return, how will he address this? Will he thank Roman publicly, acknowledging that the visit meant something? Will he call Roman out for showing up uninvited during his lowest moment? Or will he say nothing at all, leaving everyone to speculate and wonder? And what about Roman? Will he reference this visit in his promos, using it as evidence that he's evolved, that he's more than the ruthless tribal chief character? Or will he pretend it never happened, keeping that moment private and separate from his on-screen persona? Every possibility lies somewhere fascinating, and that's exactly why this matters so much. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you believe Roman Reigns visiting Seth Rollins in the hospital was genuine brotherhood showing through despite years of betrayal? Or do you think this was a calculated move, another chess piece positioned for future storylines? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because this conversation is far from over. Make sure you're subscribed, because when Seth Rollins returns and addresses this situation,